Heartwarming Plea, Mother's touching request reveals Billionaire's incredible, life-changing gift. Mary Thompson sat in her dimly lit living room, the flickering light from the TV casting an eerie glow on the walls. With a tear-streaked face, she clutched her phone, desperately recording her plea. "My name is Mary Thompson, and I'm a single mother of two," she began, her voice trembling. "My son Danny has been diagnosed with a rare medical condition, and we need your help." The weight of her words hung thick in the air, as she explained her struggle to provide for her family while juggling two minimum-wage jobs. The camera zoomed in on her weary eyes, reflecting months of relentless fear and hope. Danny, only 6, played in the background, blissfully unaware of the battles raging around him. His laughter filled the room, a sweet sound now tainted by the urgency of their reality. Mary felt her chest tighten. How could she promise him anything when the looming doctor's bills threatened to bury them? She had always been a fighter, a beacon of resilience. But this time, life had thrown a punch too hard, and she felt the sting deep in her soul. As Mary shared their story online, something magical began to happen. Messages and donations poured in from kind strangers, a lifeline amidst the chaos. Little did she know, her heartfelt video caught the eye of William Hart, a reclusive billionaire who had once roamed the same streets as she did. Watching her struggle stirred something deep within him, like a flicker of warmth in the frozen depths of a long-abandoned fireplace. Memories of his hometown, the laughter, the resilience of its people came flooding back, reigniting compassion he thought he'd buried beneath layers of isolation. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The campaign grew, her family's vulnerability etched into the hearts of many. Yet, whispers of skepticism began surfacing, casting shadows on her hard-fought light. While the community rallied around Mary, questions arose regarding the motives of wealthy benefactors like William. The whispers of doubt echoed loudly in the small town, tainting what was meant to be a pure act of kindness. Then came the charity gala, a lavish affair where the elites showcased their fortunes. William stood in the crowd, tension crushing him like a vice. As he faced critics questioning his intentions, Mary's strong spirit pulsed through him like a heartbeat, driving him to confront his past. The room buzzed with chatter, and every eye turned to him, each person brimming with curiosity and judgment. Here, under the harsh lights and scrutiny, he realized that he had a choice, to step into the light or, yet again, retreat into the shadows. As Mary momentarily locked eyes with him, a surge of emotions washed over her. Could she trust him? Could this man, cloaked in the armor of wealth, be the salvation her family desperately needed? A whirlwind of emotions gripped her, hope interlaced with skepticism. The air thickened with anticipation, waiting for a breakthrough in the battle between privilege and need. They stood on the precipice of change, two souls bound by struggle, ready to face their deepest fears and the possibility of redemption. The moment felt suspended, as if time held its breath. Mary glanced around the opulent room, contrasting sharply with her own humble living space. The bright lights and laughter surrounded her, yet she felt alone, a solitary figure swept into a world that felt foreign. What would it take for William to understand her plight? A brief encounter, a fleeting moment, yet so much was resting on it. William felt the weight of her gaze, and with it, the unraveling of his guarded heart. No longer just a spectator, he stepped forward, the whispers around him fading like echoes in a vast canyon. Each step was deliberate, driven by an urgency he had not felt in years. He had watched Mary's plea intensely, each word sinking deep into his conscience. For once, his immense wealth felt like a burden rather than a blessing. He reached her side, and the silence wrapped around them. "Mary," he started, his voice low but steady. "I'm William Hart." The name alone brought glances, a mixture of shock and intrigue swirling through the crowd. They were both out of their element, him in the realm of glittering charity and her, the embodiment of raw human emotion. Her expression was wary, yet curiosity flickered behind her eyes. "Do you know why I'm here?" she asked, heart racing yet guarded. "Yes, I do," he replied, his heart pounding in resonance with the gravity of their meeting. "I want to help." His honesty caught her off guard. Was he being sincere, or was this another opportunistic move, a way to clear his conscience? The doubts cascaded through her mind like a rapid waterfall. "Help how?" she asked with cautious hope. William took a breath, as if collecting fragments of courage. "I know that I can help with Danny's medical bills. I want to ensure he gets the treatment he deserves." Tears welled in Mary's eyes. In a world where kindness often came with strings attached, could this be genuine? "But why would you do this for us?" Her voice broke, laden with skepticism mingled with yearning. "Because I can," he whispered, his vulnerability exposed. "Because I've been where you are. I've watched my community struggle, and I turned my back on it. I don't want to be that man anymore." Around them, people began to murmur, eyes darting between the unlikely pair. The tension in the room shifted, whispers turned into genuine curiosity. This was not just a charity case, it was a personal confrontation with the past. Mary's mind raced, torn between accepting help and fearing the motivations behind it. Was she willing to trust again? Just moments before, she had felt alone, a single mother defeated by life's challenges. Now, standing before a man willing to sacrifice his anonymity for her, staggered her. "Let me think about it," she said, barely above a whisper, but the resolve behind her words was strong. William nodded, understanding the weight of her hesitation. As they parted, he felt a shift in the room's atmosphere. Would their paths cross again in a moment that could change everything? The air was electric with possibilities. Outside the gala, under the pale moonlight, both Mary and William battled their private storms, resources against vulnerability, truth against fear. They were a heartbeat apart, each standing at the brink of something profound, something that could heal or unravel them both. And as the night deepened, a question lingered in the shadows: would they find the courage to embrace a future intertwined, or would they slip away into the night, unchanged? The city was a sprawling tapestry of lights and shadows, but Mary only noticed the cold bite of the air as she stepped outside. She wrapped her arms around herself, feeling exposed after the brief emotional exchange inside. The gala felt a world away now, and the weight of her responsibilities came crashing back. Danny was waiting at home, oblivious to the turmoil swirling in her heart. Just the thought of him, with his bright eyes and warm smile, made her chest swell and ache in equal measure. As she walked toward her car, doubts gnawed at her. William's offer hung in the air like a lifeline, yet she couldn't shake the worry that it would come at a cost. Was it truly an act of kindness, or was there an unspoken expectation? She remembered the last time someone offered help, it had stung more than it had healed. With each step, her resolve hardened. She needed to protect Danny, no matter the potential risks involved. "Mary!" A familiar voice called out. It was Janet, her closest friend, rushing towards her, nearly bumping into another guest who stepped aside with a bewildered glance. "Are you okay? You seemed intense." Mary forced a smile, but her heart was still too tangled in doubt to fully engage. "Just needed some air." Janet peered at her, concern etched across her face. "People are talking, you know. About you and William Hart." "I know," she sighed, a mixture of frustration and weariness lacing her voice. "It's complicated. I can't trust anyone who wears a suit that expensive. They don't understand our lives. But what if he really means it?" Janet's brown eyes sparkled softly with hope. "You could get the help you need for Danny. You don't have to do this alone." Mary swallowed hard, her throat tightening at the thought of asking for help. What if it's too good to be true? A flicker of fear coursed through her, and she felt the familiar weight of uncertainty settle on her shoulders. Sometimes, good things do happen to good people. Maybe it's time to allow yourself to believe in that. Janet reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. You deserve something good. Allow yourself that chance. Mary searched Janet's eyes, seeing unwavering support there. But her mind strayed back to Danny and the uncertainty that surrounded their future. Would it be worth it to take that leap? Could she accept help without losing her sense of control? The moment lingered, and for the first time, Mary allowed herself to imagine what life could look like if she took William at his word. It felt like standing on the edge of a precipice, peering into an unknown abyss, the thrill of the unknown alongside the fear of falling. With an exhale, she decided. I think I need to talk to him again. Just to see. Good, Janet said, a warm smile breaking across her face. I'll be right here, no matter what. Her words brought a wave of comfort, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this. They both turned and walked toward Mary's car, the night cooler around them now. As they pulled away, Mary's thoughts swirled with the possibilities. What if he could help? What if this led to something more than just financial support and understanding, a partnership even? A vision of them working together to create a better future for Danny flickered in her mind, bright yet challenging, but could she really open her heart to someone like William? As the city lights danced in the rearview mirror, one thought lingered above all others. Could she take a chance on a man who had once turned his back, but now seemed willing to fight alongside her? Back at the gala, William stood lost in thought, the faint laughter ringing in his ears as he replayed their conversation. He felt an urge that cut deeper than anything else, a desire to prove that he was more than just wealth. In helping Mary and Danny, could he redeem himself? As their paths began to weave closer, an unspoken tension hummed in the air. This moment felt pivotal. What would it take for both of them to recognize that this was their chance to start anew? And as the doors of opportunity began to creak open, they stood on the brink of something profound. Would they step forward together, or would fear pull them apart? Only time would tell. Mary's fingers gripped the steering wheel tightly as she navigated through the darkened streets. Each light that flickered past reminded her of the uncertainty ahead. She turned to Janet, who was seated in the passenger seat, a mixture of nerves and anticipation bubbling in the air between them. Are you sure about this? Janet asked, her voice edged with concern. Mary hesitated, her heartbeat quickening. I think I have to be. For Danny's sake. Just remember, Janet added, her tone softening, you're allowed to take this chance. You deserve more than just surviving. As they pulled up to the sleek, modern office building that housed William's firm, a wave of unease washed over her. The enormity of the decision ahead clawed at her stomach. With a deep breath, she stepped out of the car, the chill in the air biting at her skin as she walked toward the entrance. The polished glass door slid open, and she stepped into a lobby that felt more like an art gallery than a workplace. The walls displayed bold paintings and sculptures, branding the space with wealth and status. Mary fidgeted with the hem of her sweater, feeling out of place. Mary! William's voice rang through the lobby. He emerged from an elevator, his expression morphing from surprise to warmth. I wasn't expecting you. I figured we should talk, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. They exchanged pleasantries, but the tension between them was like a live wire. Mary caught herself glancing at the glossy floors, trying to avoid his gaze. Come to my office, William suggested, gesturing toward a hallway lined with frosted glass. Once inside, Mary took a seat, and William settled across from her, his demeanor shifting to a more earnest tone. I'm glad you're here. I've thought about what we discussed at the gala. I have too, Mary replied, her heart racing. I know you've made me an offer, and it's generous, but I need to know, why are you really doing this? William leaned forward, clasping his hands together. I'm not just a businessman. I've seen what families like yours go through, and I want to be part of the solution. I need to make amends for the past. She watched the way his eyes flickered with sincerity. Was it possible he truly wanted to help, or was he trying to ease his own conscience? Mary struggled to process her feelings. Could she really trust him after everything? Danny deserves every opportunity, William continued, and I believe together we can make that happen. I want to take on the burden of medical expenses, educational support, whatever it takes. Just let me help. The lump in her throat grew. It was all so tempting, yet so terrifying. But what if I can't live up to your expectations? What if things get complicated? Life is complicated, he said, his voice gentle but firm. But you don't have to face it alone. I want to do this with you. For Danny. For you. His words tugged at something deep inside her. The thought of leaning on someone again was daunting, yet here was a man willing to shoulder some of her burden. For a moment, hope flickered like a candle in her mind. I just want to protect him, she whispered, her shield slowly crumbling. And I want to help you protect him, William replied, an earnestness bleeding through his facade that a moment stretched, heavy with the weight of possibility. Maybe this was the moment to redefine everything, but doubt pushed back. What if his help came with strings? What if it changed their lives forever, in ways she couldn't predict? Mary's heart raced, a swirl of longing and fear battling within her. Could she be brave enough to embrace this gift? Just as she opened her mouth to respond, the office door swung wide, and a tall woman strode in with a clipboard. Mr. Hart, we need to discuss. William turned, the moment breaking like fragile glass. Mary's heart sank. Would this shift the delicate balance they were beginning to forge? Would this be the point where everything fell apart once again? As the undefined emotions tangled in her chest, one piercing question echoed in her mind: could she truly take a leap of faith, or was she destined to retreat back to the safety of her solitary struggle? The atmosphere thickened, and the door loomed large in her thoughts. What awaited her on the other side? Mary's pulse raced as the tall woman intruded into the fragile bubble that had begun to form between her and William. She stood there, clipboard in hand, an interruption of reality in a moment that felt too delicate to be disturbed. Excuse me, but we really need to discuss the new contracts, the woman insisted, her tone clipped and professional. William's face fell for just an instant, a flash of frustration crossing his features. He stared between Mary and the woman, as if trying to gauge how much of his attention the moment was worth. Can it wait? Just give me a moment, he replied, his voice even but edged with a hint of urgency. Mary felt the air shift, a chill creeping back into the warmth that had started to bloom. She glanced down, feeling out of place again, like a mismatched puzzle piece that didn't quite belong. Mr. Hart, this is important, the woman pressed, not backing down. Please, Mary said suddenly, her voice surprising even herself. If you need him, it's okay. I can come back. The words rushed out of her mouth before her heart could catch up. It was easier to retreat, to slip back into safety, rather than risk facing whatever came next. William shot a look at her, his brow furrowed. The kindness in his eyes battled with an urgency to get his work done. I won't be long, he promised her, but something in his tone suggested he might not be able to keep that promise after all. The woman nodded curtly, her gaze briefly flickering towards Mary, then back to William. Fine. But we have deadlines you need to be aware of. Without another word, she retreated, the door sliding shut with a soft click behind her. Mary exhaled, the tension in her shoulders slowly easing. William turned back to her, his expression shifting back to earnestness. I'm sorry for that interruption. But we've got time now. Are you still with me? She wanted to nod, to assure him that she was indeed still there, still battling her own demons, but something deep inside whispered caution. What if you're too busy? What if this is all just, I don't know, a distraction for you? Mary, it's not like that, he said, his tone firm yet gentle. I'm here because I want to be. No distractions. No strings. But could she believe him? And why did she have this nagging feeling that every action came with a weighty consequence? It just feels too big, she confessed, her voice almost breaking. Too heavy to carry. Then let us carry it together, he replied. The resolve in his voice matched the intensity in his gaze. You don't have to do this alone. This is all new for both of us, and I understand your hesitations. But Danny needs you to trust, and you need to trust yourself. You can't let fear take over. A flicker of hope blossomed within her, battling against the dark whispers of doubt swirling in her mind. What if I try? Trying is the first step, he encouraged her, leaning slightly forward. Taking a leap is the only way to discover what's possible. You brought yourself here tonight, and that says a lot. It says you're ready to fight for him. You're stronger than you think. Mary felt her defenses start to soften. Hope loomed just out of reach, but it flickered brighter than before. Perhaps, just perhaps, she could take that leap, but before she could respond, the door swung open again, this time revealing a young man in a crisp suit. "William, I've got those figures you asked for," his voice trailed off as he caught sight of Mary, confusion flickering across his face. William sighed audibly, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Can you give us just a moment?" Yet, Mary's heart raced again, knowing each interruption pulled her closer to retreat but further from progress. "Maybe this is a sign," she murmured under her breath, guilt creeping back in. One part of her longed to run away from the chaos and return to the predictable routine of her life. The other urged her to break free from the confines of solitude. As the young man hesitated, Mary was left hanging between uncertainty and a glimmer of possibility, the choice lingering in the air like the scent of rain on the pavement. Could she really allow herself to trust, to reach out for a hand when she had always held herself tightly? The door felt like a gateway, but what lay beyond could change everything. Could she grasp that change, or would she let it slip away? The moment stood still. Mary could feel the tension palpably in the air, thick as fog. Each breath she took was a reminder of the choices looming before her, the safe path back into her shell or the uncertain path that led toward William and his world of possibilities. William turned his attention back to the young man, exchanging a few quick, important words that felt miles away from Mary's reality. Yet the glance he shot her was rooted in warmth, a silent encouragement that made her heart swell. She was playing a game of tug-of-war with her thoughts, and William's presence pulled her toward hope. "Mary?" William's voice cut through her reverie, grounding her. "I'm sorry for all this. We can focus on what really matters now." She nodded, taking a tentative step forward, ready to confront her doubts. It's hard to know if I'm brave enough to change." The young man remained at the doorway, eyeing the two of them, uncertain whether to leave or stay. Mary sensed his presence like a spotlight shining on her insecurities. The words hung heavy, filled with the weight of every unspoken fear. "Well, let us find out," William said, drawing her attention back. "Why don't you start with one small thing? What do you want for you and for Danny?" That question gripped her, the significance igniting a spark of clarity. She thought about Danny, his little smile, those bright eyes shining with hope and trust. She had spent so long focusing on the weight of her own fears that she had almost forgotten the reason she fought so hard. "I want him to feel safe and secure," she whispered, her voice trembling with raw emotion. "I want him to know that he's not alone." "Then it's time you believe you're not alone either," William replied softly, his eyes steady and reassuring. "This journey is just beginning. You've already shown you care. Let that be your strength." With his words, Mary felt a resolve begin to form deep within. Was it possible that, if she leaned into this moment, she could nurture both herself and Danny? A flicker of determination bloomed. Maybe she could draw on this connection with William. Well, maybe, she stumbled over her thoughts, catching his gaze and losing herself in the depths of it. Maybe I could meet with Danny and work together on something special. Like a project about hopes and dreams. A great idea. William encouraged, his enthusiasm infectious. It'll help you both connect, and it could open up new opportunities for you. A tangible thing to work on together, something to look forward to. Mary felt her spirit lifting, buoyed by the possibilities. Her mind started to race with visions of crafting a small vision board together, filled with drawings and words that meant something to them. It was something simple yet significant, a shared moment that could forge a deeper bond. "Can we do it tomorrow?" She blurted out, the urgency in her voice laced with excitement. I want to start right away. Of course. I'll help you, he replied, excitement lighting up his words. But before they could continue, the young man cleared his throat, causing a ripple of tension to resurface. William, the figures are actually kind of important, he said, the professionalism pushing back in. Mary's heart sank as she glanced between the two men. The glimmer of hope she had just been gripping felt as though it might slip away again. I can't interrupt, she said quickly, stepping back, sensing the door she had just opened beginning to close. Just give me a moment, William said, piecing together his thoughts the way a craftsman expertly fits his tools. His frustration was palpable but swiftly brimming with understanding for Mary. After the meeting, I promise we can start plotting out those dreams. Mary felt the hesitation in her gut, gnawing at her. What if she lost her courage again, lost this moment of clarity? Okay, I hope I can keep feeling this way, but what if Mary, he interrupted gently, you already have the strength within you. Trust it. As the young man cleared his throat again, interrupting with a soft, time's ticking, William, Mary squeezed her hands. Together, feeling that moment of bravery beginning to teeter on the edge of a new, unmarked path. Just remember, this is the start, not the finish, William reminded her, his voice low yet impactful, her heart raced as she stepped back, holding on to that spark of possibility. Maybe tomorrow would be their turning point, their leap of faith toward forging a brighter future together for Danny. As she turned to leave the room, one thought echoed in her mind, whatever waited on the other side of that door, she was ready to face it. But did she truly have what it would take to transform hope into reality? Mary pushed through the heavy door, her pulse still racing with a mix of hope and anxiety. The world outside felt different, a provocative blend of light and shadow, as if everything hinged on her next move. She took a deep breath and began walking down the hall, feeling the intensity of her decision settle like a comfortable weight on her shoulders. It was still early evening, and the golden hue of the setting sun illuminated the path ahead. Each step seemed to echo the heartbeat of her aspirations, revitalizing her spirit. What if tomorrow really was a turning point? By the time she reached her car, Mary's mind was consumed with ideas about the vision board. It could be filled with photos, words, bright colors, everything that reflected their dreams and fears. The image of Danny's face, eyes sparkling with joy, danced in her thoughts. She fished her phone from her pocket, fingers trembling slightly as she dialed. Danny? Hey, buddy. Guess what? Mom. Is it a surprise? He chirped, his voice bursting with infectious energy. Yes. Tomorrow, can you help me make something special? A project about all our big dreams. Can I put dinosaurs on it? He asked, excitement evident in every syllable. Absolutely. Dinosaurs, spaceships, anything your heart desires. They talked for a while longer, both buzzing with energy, weaving a tapestry of ideas and plans. Mary could almost see the glint of hope reflected in his eyes as they discussed everything from ice cream to astronaut adventures. By the end of the call, her heart felt fuller, and the shadows of doubt retreated ever so slightly. Pulling into the small driveway of her aging house, a wave of nostalgia washed over her. The chipped paint and worn shutters weren't just signs of neglect, they were tokens of her journey, reminders of resilience. Here within these walls, she had faced her fears, faced herself. Yet underneath, she knew it was the love for Danny that had fueled her fight every single day. That night, as she tucked him into bed, Philip had already drifted into sleep, the flicker of the nightlight casting a soft glow in the room. She couldn't help but run her fingers through his hair, each strand a connection to her purpose. I promise, Danny, we'll make tomorrow brighter, she whispered, brushing a kiss against his forehead. It was more than a promise, it was a pact with herself to step into the uncertainty with courage. Hours passed, and frustration shadowed her as she lay unable to sleep. The what-ifs haunted her thoughts. What if the vision board didn't change anything? What if she faltered tomorrow? She rolled over, haunted by the possibility of letdowns that loomed as shadows in her mind. Then, in the quiet of the night, a surprising calm crept in. For every worry that flashed by, a question emerged, vibrant and demanding: what if tomorrow was the leap she needed? Finally surrendering to the moment, she allowed the hope to wash over her. Maybe it wouldn't be perfect, but it could be a start. In the morning light, she awoke feeling lighter, purpose bubbling within her. A renewed energy propelled her through the morning routine. The day stretched before her like a blank canvas, and she was ready to splatter it with all colors of dreams. When she arrived at William's office, anticipation surged alongside her heartbeat. She greeted the young man at the door with newfound determination and made her way toward the conference room. Just as she was about to step inside, the memories of their last meeting flooded her, the way William supported her, how his words lingered like a gentle promise that he was waiting for her, his smile brightening the room. "You're here. Are you ready for the vision board?" "I am," she said, her voice steady, although she felt her heart racing. "And maybe there's more than just that we can talk about." William tilted his head, intrigued, his eyes reflecting genuine interest. "More. I'm all ears." The air thickened with possibility, the moment expansive before her. She was on the brink of unveiling her hopes, of transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary, but what exactly would she reveal next? Mary took a deep breath, the warmth of William's welcoming smile felt like a lifeline. How could she encapsulate everything she felt in one moment? She glanced around the conference room, where the walls adorned with vibrant artwork felt alive with potential. "I've been thinking about the vision board, but," she hesitated. The words stuck in her throat, and anxiety twisted within her. "I want it to represent more than dreams. I want us to channel our fears to what we hold back. Facing what scares us can spark growth, right?" William nodded thoughtfully, his brow furrowed as if he could see the breadth of her thoughts. "Absolutely. It's about creating a complete picture of who we are." "So, what are your fears?" Mary's heart pounded. Could she share that her biggest fear was failing Danny? Or that despite her optimism, the shadows from her past still haunted her? She took a small leap. "I worry that I won't create the future I want for my son. That I'll let him down." His gaze softened, understanding flowing between them like a gentle current. "That's a huge weight to carry. But sharing that fear is a strong first step. It acknowledges your desire to be there for him." The air in the room shifted, heavy with unspoken recognitions. She felt a crack in her facade. "It's just I want him to have options. A life filled with experiences, not limitations. Then let us turn that fear into something powerful." William's voice was calm, but his eyes shone with intensity. "What if we not only visualize those dreams, but we also outline the steps to make them tangible?" Every word resonated with her like a familiar song. "You mean, create actionable goals on the board? Not just pretty pictures?" "Exactly. We can create pathways instead of just aspirations." Mary could feel the spark pulsing between them. "What about incorporating ways to face those fears?" The idea bubbled forth, igniting her passion. "Like listing the obstacles on one side and strategies to overcome them on the other?" William's facial expression lit up, reflecting back her excitement. "I love that. It creates an honest dialogue with yourself. You're not just dreaming, you're committing to a plan." Heart pounding faster now, Mary felt the weight of hope intertwine with her fears. "What if we add a section for gratitude?" The words spilled out. "To remind ourselves of what we're grateful for despite the challenges." "Now you're talking. Gratitude grounds us through the storms." As they discussed the board further, gathering myriad ideas and insights, she felt more alive than she had in years. It was like a veil lifted, revealing colors in the world she hadn't seen. This was not just a project, it was her roadmap, a declaration. When the meeting drew to a close, Mary caught herself smiling. It felt liberating. William's enthusiasm had become a pillar for her own aspirations. Yet, there was an undercurrent beneath the excitement, a recognition that this was just the beginning. "I truly believe we can do something amazing," Mary said, her heart swelling with anticipation. "But, William, there's something I need to ask you." His brows lifted slightly, curiosity piqued. "Sure, what's on your mind?" Then it struck her, a question both daunting and filled with potential. What if we present this vision board to an audience? Maybe at a community event? To inspire others to face their fears too? William's eyes widened, the gears turning in his creative mind. A bold idea. It could spark something incredible. A rush of adrenaline coursed through Mary, but with it came a flash of doubt. But what if I'm not ready for that kind of exposure? Perhaps this is the leap you need, he said, voice steadying her racing thoughts. Remember, your journey could help others. The twitch of apprehension lingered in her chest, battling the thrill of possibilities. Standing on the edge of this new venture, she felt both terrified and exhilarated. But was she ready to share her story with the world? In that moment, uncertainty mingled with hope, wrapping itself around her heart tightly. Tomorrow held promise, but would it also take her to a place she was afraid to go? What awaited her at this crossroads of vulnerability and aspiration? The sun poured through the window, casting a warm glow in the conference room, a reminder of the new day ahead. Mary barely slept, her mind buzzing with excitement and apprehension about the idea of presenting her vision board. As she sat down at her kitchen table, the aroma of fresh coffee enveloped her like a comforting embrace. Today felt monumental, she wanted to pour her heart into the board, make it sing with authenticity. Glancing at Danny doodling on a piece of paper nearby, a swell of love filled her. She wanted so much for him. The thought of standing in front of others and sharing not just her dreams but her fears felt daunting. After breakfast, she gathered her materials: markers, magazines, a large poster board. The act of creating felt like an act of courage. With each cut and color, she visualized Danny in a life full of possibilities. A world where his laughter echoed through opportunities and experiences. But with every vision, shadows of doubt whispered in her ear. What if you fail? What if they don't understand? She shook her head, determined. This wasn't just about her, it was about every parent who feared failing their children. When she arrived at the community center, the buzz of anticipation filled the air. Familiar faces greeted her, nodding in encouragement. William was already there, hands on his hips, inspecting the setup. His confident demeanor ignited some of her waning courage. "Hey, you made it." He beamed, a light in his eyes that made her feel less alone. "Yeah, I'm here," she replied, swallowing her nerves. "Are you ready?" He chuckled. "More ready than I'll ever be. Together, we can make a difference." They took a moment to explore the layout, to find the perfect spot for their board. Once set, Mary started pinning images, pictures of adventures, laughter, memories. With each picture, she whispered a promise to Danny. This was for him. And then, she carefully attached the section on fears: bold, honest, and raw. As people began to gather, her heart raced. The noise around her faded, leaving just her and this moment. She could see people exchanging curious glances at their vision board. Maybe it was too ambitious, she thought, biting her lip. But William leaned in, sensing her fears. "This is powerful, Mary. It's real. They'll connect with this." A small crowd formed, and a hush fell. With a deep breath, Mary found her voice. "Thank you for coming today. This," she gestured to the board, "this is not just my journey. It's a reflection of the fears we all carry. But it's also an invitation to face them." The crowd shifted, the air thick with anticipation. "I want to encourage each of you to share your fears too," she continued. "Let us turn them into something beautiful, something that propels us forward. What if we all held each other accountable?" A woman in the front stepped forward, her eyes shimmering. "I've always been scared of failing as a parent," she confessed, the vulnerability heavy in her words. Others started to chime in, sharing their stories. Mary's heart surged. This was connection, this was community. Their collective fears were woven together with shared dreams, creating a tapestry of hope that touched the very essence of what it meant to be human. As the room buzzed with emotional confessions, Mary's feel of doubt transformed, a transcendence of spirit washed over her. They were in this together, and she was ready to confront her fear of exposure. Yet in the back of her mind, a new thought nagged at her: the journey wasn't just about sharing fears, but also the potential of what came next. What are we going to do with this now? She wondered aloud, looking at William, who returned her gaze with a glimmer of understanding. The air shifted once more, thick with possibilities. What if this sharing ignited something bigger? Maybe we can plan regular meetups, William suggested, his enthusiasm bubbling over. A space for people to share and support each other. As the crowd buzzed with excitement at this new idea, Mary felt something shifting within her. This was not just the beginning of a vision. It was the foundation of a movement. But deep down, a question lingered: were they ready for the challenge of sustaining this newfound connection? For Mary, this was only the start. What could lie ahead in their quest for empowerment and community? The buzz in the community center felt electrifying as Mary stood before an audience that had transformed from strangers into allies. The air hummed with shared fears, dreams, and newfound connections. It was a moment she craved, and now that she was finally here, something deep within her shifted. Today is just day one, she exclaimed, her voice steady and unyielding. We've begun to lift the weight of our fears off our shoulders. What we've created here, it's a bridge. A bridge that leads to support, understanding, and hope. The crowd murmured in agreement, nodding with smiles of recognition. Those scattered conversations turned into a chorus of encouragement, a beautiful cacophony that echoed throughout the room. Mary glanced at William, whose eyes sparkled with pride, and suddenly she felt the warmth of courage enveloping her like a comforting blanket. Together, we can open our hearts and let the light in. She continued, fire igniting her spirit. This isn't just about drafting dreams on a board, it's about crafting a legacy we can leave for our children. A world where they know they are never alone. The group leaned in, their curiosity piqued. More voices rose in an uplifting harmony: I'm scared to lose my job. I fear I won't be the parent my child deserves. I worry about not being enough. With each confession, Mary's heart swelled. This shared vulnerability laid the foundations for a community she had always dreamed of, a support system woven from the threads of empathy and love. The fear that once gripped her now faded, replaced by conviction. She could see it was time to take the next leap. Let us commit together, Mary declared, driving her point home. Let us meet every week. We'll share our progress, keep each other accountable, and continue crafting our stories. We can even launch awareness campaigns for the causes that touch our hearts. The applause erupted into the air like firecrackers, vibrant and spirited. Laughter echoed, and as Mary locked eyes with William, gratitude washed over her. They were standing together at the front line of change, and it was beautiful. Days turned into weeks, and those weekly gatherings grew in attendance. People opened up about their fears, dreams, and frustrations. They exchanged resources, supported one another through struggles, and celebrated joyous victories. Mary saw walls crumbling as voices rose in a collaborative anthem of resilience. One afternoon, after a particularly powerful meeting, William approached her as the room started to empty. "Mary," he said, his expression serious yet warm. "What you've built here is remarkable. You are inspiring others to unlock their true potential. Your journey is bigger than just you and Danny now." Her emotions bubbled up, and a tear escaped as she responded, "I never thought I could make such a difference. You took a chance on me, and in turn, we've built something so much larger. But I couldn't have done this without you." William smiled, and for a moment, there was silence between them, both understanding the depth and breadth of the journey they had forged together. Months passed, and the community spirit flourished. Mary sat at home one evening, basking in the soft glow of her living room. She watched Danny play with his toys, joy radiating from him like sunlight. The worries that once consumed her heart now felt dim in comparison to the bond they formed. As she noticed a stack of letters resting on the table, she felt compelled to open them. Each note was a testament of gratitude from families who found solace and strength through their gatherings. Tears streamed down her face as she read, overwhelmed with connection. This was her purpose: to nurture, to uplift, and to unify in fellowship. In the background, Danny called out, "Mom! Can we make more dreams today?" "Absolutely, buddy. Bigger and bolder," she responded, her heart swelling with purpose. Life had taken her on a wild journey, but it had led her to a space of healing both for herself and her community. She had transformed isolation into connection, and through this metamorphosis, she realized the power of vulnerability. No longer did Mary waver in uncertainty, her heart reigned with love, light, and courage enough to conquer the darkness. With determination ignited, she picked up her phone and hit record, just like that first day in that dim living room. "Hey everyone," she began, her voice full of joy. "Today I want to share something amazing. We're more than just survivors, we are thriving together and writing a new chapter filled with hope. Let us embrace our journeys, hand in hand, and focus on our dreams." The video would go viral, it would ignite change beyond what she could see. But it was never about attention, it was about opening doors, a sweet invitation for others to step into their potential. And as she closed her phone, a brilliant smile crossed her face, for she understood the truth now: helping others was the greatest gift of all, and in giving, she had finally learned to receive. Now was the moment, and this was the calling. Don't hesitate. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Remember, only true fans understand the importance of transforming lives through their actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.